Okay. We are live, I think. Yeah, we're getting audio on the YouTube channel. I don't want to be muted. I'm trying to remember how I share that link, though. Oh, it should just be, can you check and see if it's on the page?
What?
The live stream on the Cinder YouTube channel?
Yeah.
And if so, link it out in the Etherpad. Are you gonna run the PTG bot for me then?
Sure.
That would be delightful, thank you.
There's a nice screenshot of it.
Yes. You'll notice most of it says smile for a screenshot before you start, and you'll notice most of our previous screenshots involve me making some sort of goofy face, so I don't know what else to put. Oh, I know what to put later. Never mind. Okay, so welcome everybody. And thank you for finding the room. I apologize for the schedule mix-up. I swear we had all day today, and I'm not the only one who thought that, so I don't feel bad, but apparently we didn't. But this room is free, so we're here, and it looks like most people that I would expect to have found it, so we're good. Ah! And here comes my other power supply. Thank you so much. Talk to you later. Woo! All right, all is right with the world now. If anybody finds a slim 65-watt Lenovo power supply laying around the conference center somewhere, it's mine. But in the meantime, yeah. Oh, this one's way overpowered for it, but more power. All right. Okay, so thank you for finding the room. I figured this was easier. I know who is not here Saturday. What time? But you're here most of tomorrow, right?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, good. Anybody else not here Saturday? Okay. So that's why I was trying to get as much done Thursday, Friday as possible. We'll meet with the placement team Saturday morning at some point for those who are able to be available for that. And then there's some other RSD, Nova, Cinder, cross-topic type stuff happening later in the day Saturday that I was going to try to cover. But other words, I think if we get through things Thursday, Friday, that'll be good. Other housekeeping. I had thoughts and I'm losing them. Anyway, there was discussion of trying to get Glance and Cinder together to do another team dinner so that Eric and those who weren't here on Tuesday can join. I don't know where that planning is at, but yes. So if I hear anything from Erno on that.
I'm almost planning to do it, but I don't know that his plan has reached the point of actually place reservations or anything.
Okay, well, then we should probably try to do it tomorrow night instead of tonight, because you mentioned tonight at one point, but I know there are probably several people who are going to want to try to get to the game night instead. So.
Okay, that might be it. I believe grab in between.
Yeah.
It's tonight game night?
Huh?
It's tonight game night?
Yeah. Yikun loves feedback, don't you? All right, so I think that's, I think most of us know each other. I see at least 2 new faces.
Hi, I'm Robert. I'm engineer in Intel as a backstage design project.
Oh, okay.
So I could help in measures of currency.
Okay, good.
And
Have you been in our meetings at all? Are you one of the people that participated there? What's your screen name for IRC?
yeah, I don't have
Okay,
account because I'm working with Cinder team to integrate RSD with Cinder drivers. So
okay.
that's it.
All right. We were planning on taking at some point a quick look at the RSD driver that's out there. And you did and made a few comments. We'd like to try to get it in early in train here. So we can maybe do some collaborative discussion there. And welcome.
Thank you. I'm David Haynes. I'm on the openstack-cinder team, kind of representing ops right now.
Oh.
Want to eventually discuss affinity and filters like later. Might be related to placement. So
Okay.
that should come Saturday.
Okay,
If you could recommend time, have that discussion.
okay. Yeah, that might be, I mean, we touched on the subject a little bit yesterday in a forum session. So if we have, if the schedule is moving along quickly here, then maybe we can try to spend a few minutes on that at some point this morning.
Yeah, I don't want to change your schedule at all. In fact, I can get somebody's 5 minutes, somebody's time. It's probably not.
Okay, cool. Well, welcome. And let's see, I think we know, everybody else knows each other. I'm Jay, I'm the PTO. Oh, you don't know? Well, that's what happens when you disappear, Shane. So, well, do we want to quickly go around the room then, since we're still within our time planning for welcome and setup? We'll start with our newest member, Sophie.
Hi, I'm Sophia. I'm working with Brian and Alan in breakfast. I'm a software developer.
Welcome, glad to have you on board.
I'm Brian Rossmeda. I'm working at Red Hat with Sophia and Adam and Eric, and also mostly upstream.
Yay, glad to have you on the team now.
I'm Sean McGinnis. I work for Huawei.
Hi, Sean.
I'm Yikun Jiang, and my IRC name is Yikun, and others, also comes from Huawei and some upstream works in there.
Oh, and this,
They are, say, IRC open, but it's the first time to join. So
Yeah.
nice to meet you guys. Yeah.
yes, welcome. We're very glad to have you here, and thanks for your contributions in the last year or so. So good to have you. And a returning face.
My name is Walter Boring. I work for Sousa. I do stuff.
Stuff. I delegate to him when it comes to OS Brick or attachment stuff. In lieu, we'll call you Little John Griffith.
That's right.
Jay Bryant, PTL, work at Lenovo. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say there. Erlan?
My name is Erlan. I work for NetApp.
Eric Harding, Red Hat with these guys.
Bishop, kind of the same, I won't name everybody again. I kind of dabbled in Cinder because I also spent quite a bit of time in Red Hat's deployment tool for below.
Ooh, that's good to know. Now I know who to call when support isn't responding.
You know where I live on IRC.
Xinyan, one for Huawei, history of activities not very active anymore. I will come project of OpenCS, and also the ladies.
Hello everyone, I'm Lisa. Yeah, my Chinese name is Lisa. Yeah, but anyway, you can call me Lisa. Yeah. And sometimes I work in center, and then sometimes I work in staff. So yeah. Okay, everyone, that's to you.
Welcome.
Hi, I'm Rajni, I'm India. Consider sometimes I don't, sometimes work along with them and
Glad you're here. Maybe that's one. And last but not least,
I'm Matt, I work for Daytera, it's a cluster storage solution. I'm happy to be here.
good. All right. So that's good. I forgot Yikun, it's your first time here. So it's nice to have new faces in the room and glad to have you all here. All right, so the first thing I had on the agenda was a Stein retrospective. I don't know that we need to, I put time for this, but that was also kind of a buffer for if anything went wrong and what have you.
Chief?
Yeah.
Just one question first, to see there's a couple topics added to the topic list. Do you want those added there or directly to somewhere on the schedule, or how do you want to handle new topics?
Yeah, good question. Do you?
So we could put them there, and then as we figure out when we have time spaces.
Yeah, go and grab them.
Yeah.
Oh, and I'm remiss. I forgot to introduce Rajat, who's joined remotely. I'm so sorry. Please join us, Rajat.
Hello everyone, I'm Rajat. I'm currently working for NEC. That's it.
Oh, all the build-up, and that's
Who's that?
NEC. So good. Thank you for joining. I know it's late over there, so I hope that you're still able to kind of hang with us. But we appreciate you having you online. And he's Humai Rajat on IRC. So, okay. Thanks for the reminder. If I forget you again, don't be afraid to ping me.
Okay, sure.
Which is terrible because normally I'm the remote guy going, hey, you forgot me. So, okay. Yeah, let's just kind of, as we go along, grab the extra topics and see how things go. So, I actually didn't have a lot for the retrospective at the moment. I mean, I think the big lesson learned was we had kind of miscommunication in doing releases and stuff, which is mostly my fault. And Brian did a good job of cleaning up after me, so I appreciate that. Any other thoughts, concerns, lessons learned that came out of Stein from anybody?
I think all of our deadlines and everything are okay.
Yeah, I mean, we were able to enforce our deadlines appropriately.
Our reviews.
So
We didn't get the standard J chastised.
So I put this in our project update presentation yesterday, discussion around this, and most of you weren't there, so maybe this is worth, you know, the minute or two to go over my analysis of where things are at, kind of the state of the release, or of the project at the moment. I had, you know, a person who's doing an article contact me and asked me to kind of take a look at how things were going. And yeah, you know, as far as commits go, there's been a slow decline in the number of commits coming in. But I think that's normal for where the project is at right now. We've gone from, new feature development where IBM, EMC, NetApp, everybody was trying to get new features out there. Now it seems we've met the expected features, and now we're looking at doing bug fixes, UX improvements, making it easier for the people who are doing the actual, the distros and stuff to get their work done. Not as many bug fixes for the drivers, so those have stabilized. I think that's a good sign too. So all in all, I think the project is still, look around the room. We've got a lot of different companies represented still, and people active. So I think it's just that we're more mature. I noted the participation from many companies. It's not like we've become a one company project, which is good. We're retaining expertise, between Sean, Walt, myself, you, Eric, Erlon, you've been on the project for a while now. Shing's still involved. So we still have expertise that we've retained. The core contributor list is stable, and the nice thing is that we've added some new blood to that, which I think is good, between Rajat and Yukun joining, and now Brian. And if you look at the core contributor reviews, it's still a little lopsided, but I think it's getting better. Have you noticed that too, Sean?
Yeah.
That it's evened out a little bit. I've felt like I could go a couple of days without pulling up reviews to get other stuff done and not feel guilty about it, which is good.
Thank you to Rajat for all of his efforts.
Oh yeah, definitely. I agree. And the other thing that I looked at was the only bug fix only release we did was Okada. And if you look at the number of commits and reviews we did then, and compare it to the last two releases, which were mostly focused on bug fixing, the numbers fell on either side of Okada. So I think it all kind of fits together right now. Our number of drivers is pretty stable. It was at 80 plus at one point, but it's been closer to 60 now for a while. Couple come in, couple go. The stuff that you guys have been doing with Seth and adding support there is greatly appreciated, given that's the most highly sought after driver. So I think that is good, and having the zone manager drivers both supported again shows that another step back towards health. So and we're expanding beyond just being Cinder with what we've done in standalone Cinder Lib. People are consuming it outside of OpenStack, so our breadth has increased as well. So I feel pretty good, and I'm not super concerned. So that's kind of my takeaway. You've got the people who have been saying for releases that OpenStack is dying. No, it's just not flashy and exciting. And it's stabilized, and we had a user feedback session where the few people who showed up went, it just works, it's fine.
Boring is good.
But boring is good. So that's kind of my spiel there, as people are asking what's up. So if nobody else has major concerns, we can
just add, the reviews are always welcome.
Yeah.
I don't think the sky is falling, but if there's anybody looking to get involved yet, that's a great way to do it.
Yeah. And the more people that we have that know the code to some extent, the better. Hopefully I don't get hit by a bus tomorrow, and God help us if Sean does, but,
Yeah, that note, Corky made it home safe.
What's that?
Corky made it home safe.
Oh, thank God. Speaking of people who should not get hit by a bus. Thank God. Good. All right, well, so we don't need to spend more time on that topic then, I think, oh, good thing, the priority, the priority reviews list. And I would like to see us leverage that hopefully more in the next release. I think you've been using it, and just encourage the other cores to do so as well.
I was being fairly conservative as far as adding anything to it. Do we feel like we should put a few more things on there just to keep a nice flow going, or?
I think we could.
I think it would be better to overutilize it and have to back up a little bit than underutilize it. But I mean, if we're using it properly, it should never get that big. Is kind of my thought there. So let's try using it more, and we can always readdress if it seems to be too much.
Also, did we fix the dashboard link to include center node?
I think so.
It was missing at one point. I don't know if it still is or
Well, I don't know about this dashboard. I did merge the change into their dashboard generator thing. So that it's there, but I don't know what that does.
Where is that?
I think it's. Oh, yeah,
Part of the actual dashboard generator.
Yeah, the dashboard generator is like openstack/.
Yeah, but I mean, where does it generate it to?
Just locally.
Oh, okay, so.
It was a good time come on.
Which dashboard are you talking about?
Dashboard section in there.
That's what I'm trying to figure out. Well, they're saying there's a dashboard generator, but I'm very unclear on what it generates and where it goes. So I'm not sure.
It generates, so yeah, it generates this documentation where you've got these links to dashboards for various projects.
Okay.
But I
don't think I've ever looked at that.
don't know where it's used. But anyway, so that thing does know about Cinder Loop.
Well, maybe that's what we should look to if that gets. Is it being built as part of the doc domes all the time?
I'm not sure.
I think there used to be a dashboard on review.openstack.org. That's not. The way I've used it is I put it there, I check it in, sort of be useful, but then I run it locally to get the URL and then put it, paste it somewhere.
This used to actually have content.
Is there an action item to come out of that?
Well, it seems like if we have tooling that makes this, it should. Go somewhere.
I just swear there was something there at one point. And now it's.
Which dashboard are you looking at?
I'm just looking at this. I posted the page on readthedocs.io.
Last name for.
Yeah.
Oh, this one.
So there's a page that they claim all the dashboards are available.
Then on the Cinder wiki page, I've got new plot, there's links to some of the dashboards.
Eric, your question about Cinder, at least with that shortened URL, I screwed up and I created that without registering or logging in, so I can't go and edit that. So we have to change that to a URL to include Cinder.
So our current review inbox causes a server error.
Are you logged in?
Yeah. So if I log in,
I was having some trouble with this for a while because it was something about the URL changes that they did. I had to like completely.
Oh, the redirect opened it over.
Yeah, something was messing with the.
It works.
Eventually got it to work, but I can't remember what it did. But I was having this problem where it kept doing nothing.
I'm logged in. Oh, okay. Well, if it's working for you, then it's something in my browser. New bugs works, but I don't know if any of these include Cinderlib.
Well, that's not even going to include those directory.
Oh, that's just Cinder. That's right. Okay. All right. Well,
Active ether pad, I think it's
what's that?
that page has a list of ether pads.
Yeah.
It says active. And it says Newton mid-cycle was the first active one.
There probably are things in that ether that we're still working on.
Probably true. Could probably just bump them all into this story.
Yeah, I had some to-dos coming out of the PTG to update that stuff, so I will add back that to-do. All right. All right, we'll just say that we should probably check out our dashboards and see that they're accurate, and I will clean up the wiki page since that's been on my list for a little bit here. Okay, anything else on those topics? Nope.
We can
Wait.
talk about releases. So the Cinder client release is still, or stable Rocky and stable Stein is still held up, waiting for some stuff to get backward and merged.
Cinder client and what?
It's Cinder client for stable Stein and stable Rocky.
Okay.
So the main set of changes were the ones Sean's made that have all merged into master. But we need some backports. One backport needs to go to Stein and then to Rocky, and then the other two just need to go to Stein. Then we can release out of Stein. So just to remind you, the 4.1.0 Cinder client that's released as stable Stein was from October. So we merged stuff in there to catch up, and And so 4.1.1 would be unless we decide to call it 4.2.
We still could.
We might need to actually. So there was a question about, sorry, I should have like compared something.
That's okay. I have been clearly prepared for everything this morning, so.
So everyone can see. So this one review. So this is
Back up and drain.
yeah, that's not the one. That
I'm like, that's merged.
That one does need to go back to. I think it hasn't been proposed for slide yet.
No, you could just do the rocky ones.
Okay. And then the one on the next. This is the one that there's sort of a question about, I guess. So the situation is that the Cinder client and Stable Rocky have functionality that recognizes higher microversions than the set and max microversion for the client itself. So it thinks it can't deal with some of the stuff. So this patch was in merged into master, and as proposed for Stein. Eric had a concern about backporting to Stable Rocky because it's going to change the response you get from the highest client server version. So ordinarily we could just deal with that with just changing the minor version number. But we can't do that here because that minor version is already being used in the Stein branch. So we can't change Rocky from 4.0 to, sorry. Yeah, so we can't, so 4.1 series is in Stein. So
Okay.
you can't mess with, you can't make anything in 4.1. So this is going to have to stay 4.02. So I thought that this is, if we include a release note just saying, hey, you may get this, it's kind of a minor thing, but on the other hand, it is a, I guess it's actually, there's a pun in there somewhere, but it's too early. But anyway, so yeah, so anyway, so I just want to make sure we're cool with this, because I think getting ready for PTG and stuff, all this stuff has got no priority, which is understandable. But I just want to make sure we're all cool with that. It's not just people thinking we should do this that's making this silly.
Well, yeah, the tricky part of that was it means that if you upgrade with a Cinder client update that's versioned as a bug fix update, somebody will end up hitting a new API version on the server when they use that client. Which is, in theory, not really what's supposed to happen, but I don't really know what we're supposed to do about it.
The kind of good, nice part about that is we did make it where they have to explicitly say the version that they want. So.
Only in the shell, though.
In the
shell.
Yeah, true. So if they're just using it as a library.
In the library, it's a whole different game, I think. And I think the problem is nobody has really thought through in depth, like, what the rules are supposed to be for what would guarantee in this library.
Okay, looking at this, I found a bug in that there's a convenience method discover version or something, so I've got the patch up. But it's supposed to return, so you pass this function, the microversion you want, and then it looks at what's available on the server and what's available on the client, and then returns the highest you can actually use. And it's been ignoring the client settings. So I've got a patch up for that, but I don't think we should think about backporting that. Well, I actually just want to get these releases out because this, especially because the Stein client is so out of date. It'd be good to get that part out. All right, so I'll just start bugging people, every so often.
Well, with the concerns Eric's raised, we do have, it is an option that we don't backport these. We just, if someone needs to use these higher micro versions, they're just gonna have to use the training client, so even if they're using an older Rocky service. Right. I don't know if anyone has any strong opinions on that.
Well, I'm not sure that any of the changes are, I guess the one that would be, that could trip people up is tournament schema validation.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've seen some uniquenesses there, right?
I mean, the last two of those, you could update, nobody really noticed probably. So are we gonna try to release now?
First time, you mean?
I would think both of them.
So I mean, I'm personally okay with doing this, but yeah, we should probably add a release now.
In Stein or just in Rocky? Because Stein we can.
Yeah, we should have an open call sign one, I think. Where the sign pointer is just saying, so there's gonna be a bunch of stuff in that one.
I mean, they both should have a release note,
Right,
since
well,
we're kind of
Yeah. So I think the release note for
Fixing our
so
fuck up.
Rocky doesn't have much going into it, except these small changes. So I think that could be met with the release note. Put a comment down here, just warning about the get highest server version, get highest client server version. Could give you a higher version than we had previously.
But that, no, that was your pitch, right?
No,
No, this was in the Discover one.
yeah, I was looking to see how exactly this thing worked in there.
Correct.
Yeah, so I think let's hold that one separately and then we're talking master. Or maybe we could get it this time. Well, maybe eventually. I don't know. I don't know that it's been used much because nobody had filed
Well,
it.
it's kind of amazing nobody's noticed that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, well, Cinder just works. That's what we heard yesterday, so.
well, if you just did like 3.0, I mean, it's
Yeah,
Makes me wonder how many people are actually even doing anything with micro versions, or if most people are just going with base 3.0.
I think we just go to default.
I mean, you have to get pretty into use of Cinder before you can notice
Even
your
realize
basic
that.
stuff. But in our product, I think we default people to, I can't remember if we ever fixed that.
The client now, we do print the helper. We don't, we still, explicitly say if they want a higher micro version, if they want some of that functionality. Okay, I put a note on there for me to add a release note. We can continue.
Okay. All right, so we're good there? Okay. So I wanted to update people on where the trying to get iSCSI support in place is at. My guy that was working on it left the company. So.
iSCSI for Ceph, you mean? Ceph iSCSI?
Yeah, the iSCSI support for the Ceph driver. He left the beginnings, he left a draft spec that I need to get, which it's not all bad because I kept trying to explain where we were trying to go and we never got there. So I need to read the spec and see if we got there. And we've got another guy who's interested in picking it up. So I'm hoping after I get back from the person who's picking it up is technically very good. I just need to get in communication with him and get him started down that path. So I'm hoping we can see a spec in the next week or not week, month or so, and then keep moving forward. I keep hearing interest in it, so I don't want to drop it unless there's somebody else who has free resource to work on it.
So I am assuming that at some point, somebody at Red Hat is going to start really caring about this.
Okay.
It's a really big, useful feature.
Yeah, and I can only assume that there's some communication gap between Ironic and the Cinder team at Red Hat that this hasn't been talked about more.
I know.
Because I'm assuming that people are going to want it.
Yeah.
I have an interest in this too. I think one of the things that we got blocked on the last time we talked about this was the fact that you needed to actually be on the Ceph host with admin credentials to actually do the iSCSI export.
Yeah, because they don't have.
There's no tooling for doing that. And I mean, we have our own magic tool set to making this happen, but you still have to have credentials on that box to do it.
But the general concept of it is a pretty good idea.
I mean, maybe we could do all kinds of things. We could write a simple Flash server with credentials for Keystone or something that lets us off correctly and takes the command and does whatever we need over there.
And this actually uses the way that Ceph implements this, it actually uses the LIO target like we do with the LVM driver. It's just running it on the Ceph storage itself.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they might even have a way to do, if I remember correctly, I think they might have a way to do multipath with it too.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, it seems like a good idea. I'm gonna go poke around and see if we need somebody internally to start driving this from our side too.
Okay, because at a minimum, we need somebody to help.
Yeah.
And I've thought through some of the details with, at the time it was Phoenix, and then we talked about it at the last PTG or at the mid-cycle, and stuff. So let me,
It would be nice if there was a community-based REST API that was just what everyone used and called on all the platforms.
and the problem is right now what there is a CLI, it's a Ceph iSCSI CLI or something that's really clunky to try to use remotely.
So this would end up being like an SSH driver currently.
Yeah.
Yes. And we would need at a minimum, we'd need help from John to get the CLI usable. The first problem it had was it would only show volumes that it created, but he was going to look at fixing that. I don't know where that fell.
Not sure what that means.
So if you went into the CLI, it was like a mini Cinder where you would create volumes and export them.
Right.
And it would only show the ones it had created.
That may be the right thing.
Why?
Why would you want to allow Cinder or anyone to export a volume that you didn't create? Someone else did.
I don't see any reason.
No. But it only would allow ones that the CLI had created.
Mm-hmm.
Other volumes on the back end were not
cluster.
on the cluster weren't available.
Well, we decided that was going to be a separate driver in Cinder anyway, so it should work okay. If it's going to be implemented as its own driver, it would create the volumes anyway.
Would that cause issues for, I know a lot of people use the glance, store their glance images on Ceph and then use the Ceph driver because nothing ever moves anywhere, it's just for.
I think it would still work, and I think you just would never see the stuff that's for glass. But I haven't looked
But
at
can you create the volume? I don't really know how that whole mechanism works, but would you not be able to use that glance image because you can't get access to the CLI?
Well, we wouldn't be using the glance image via iSCSI anyway. I think it would still do, like if you were doing a create
So-
volume from image, it would actually still happen at the RGB layer and not through iSCSI.
So the goal was to try to not have to completely rewrite the Ceph driver to use the CLI. I was hoping we could do some of it for through RBD to do like create and delete and what have you, and just use the CLI to do the export.
Yeah, I think there was some idea that we would make a new driver that inherited the current driver.
Right,
Or you or
which,
create a target and one would
right,
use the iSCSI target and one would not.
which was why
I
we
think
wanted
there's gonna
the,
be more to it than the target and stuff.
Yeah.
okay.
I don't know, I haven't looked at it in a long time enough to know too much about how it works.
Okay. So, well, let's go forward with, I'll grab the spec I have and put it up there so we can start throwing tomatoes at it. And if you can check internally with your team to find out who, what, where, when, if anybody's working on it, that would be good.
Pretty sure anybody's working on it. I'm surprised anybody's asking for it.
Okay.
That's very surprising to me.
Yeah. So I think it's a pretty big deal for the ironic case.
That's really the only useful use case that I can think of. But it's the primary reason why I was interested in doing it too.
Another reason you might want it as a separate driver is because it could behave drastically differently with replication kind of stuff. Since that's done with RGB tooling.
Maybe another problem is that there are several SRC support. As far as I know, one is to use SRC package itself, but another is to use NDB class plus to the SRC. I think for these two kinds of support, maybe the handle in SRC driver may be different.
Well, we considered the NDB thing at one point, which would help if you were attaching it as a second volume to an ironic node. But I think you have to use iSCSI to do ironic boot from volume because you want to be able to boot from something that can pretty much do iSCSI and not really much else.
Yeah, that's really the crux of it all, is that Ironic supports iSCSI. And
So
if we
that-
have an iSCSI target, then it'll just work.
Because I think the NVD thing has got enough restrictions that it ends up not really being too useful to do.
Okay.
So I think the question here is the lack of tooling to remotely create those
Yeah.
iSCSI targets.
Yes,
And
that's-
that's really the crux of it, I think.
And there's tooling there, but it's just not good tooling to use remotely.
Well, yeah, if
Well,
you
it's
consider
stuff that-
SSH a tool.
It's stuff that has to run like pre-OS boot is the thing.
Oh,
I mean, so they have hardware that can boot from iSCSI as like a firmware thing. They don't know how to talk to much else. And I think that's a lot of the case that this was trying to fulfill.
well, right, yeah, I mean, the tooling for controlling the iSCSI connections.
Creating the targets, yeah.
The firmware obviously has limited support for what it can mount at boot time. And that's not likely to change anytime soon. At least I assume. So. Okay. Well, I mean, it sounds like we have the two people who should be most interested in this, at least on board at looking at it, between you with the attachment code and you as Red Hat Ceph guy.
Yeah.
So what I need to do is start pushing things along on my end, which in theory will be easier to do later this month. In theory.
Well, I'd be interested in helping even with the client end or the API side of things too. If I can get the cycles from my manager, I could even look into writing that.
Okay, that would be very helpful.
Because really, that's a big missing piece. I mean, yeah, we can do SSH, but I don't think you want to put root credentials for a Ceph server in Cinder's conf.
Yeah.
That's
So that's actually is a whole other thing we should probably talk about in here. Add something to this.
It would be nice if the Ceph client would support it built in, talking to the cluster, because we have the key rings and stuff and all the offloads built into that. We just need to execute the LIO stuff.
How hard will it be to get changes like that merged upstream in Ceph?
I don't know.
I don't have any idea what kind of changes we actually need, so.
Does anybody know the community manager for Ceph? You look confused, Brian.
I think
It's Mike Perez who used to be the Cinder DTL.
They did accept some Cinder-driven bug fix into stuff not too long ago, so I think if we show up with the right stuff, I think it's not too bad.
Okay.
I can't remember what it was.
Well, that's good news.
There you go.
Anyway.
From our perspective, the Ceph client seems to be a logical place, but the Ceph guys would probably go, that doesn't belong there at all.
For what exactly?
For creating the iSCSI targets remotely.
Yeah,
we don't even, we use librvd in the Python.
Well, and that's the problem, is it's not even like an RBD thing.
Yeah, it's
like
not.
A different layer outside of RBD, so.
Yeah.
I don't know where that would even go.
Okay. So I guess we're kind of stuck with the idea of either doing SSH or writing a new API service that someone runs on their.
There's a library out there, so that's what we, that we explore. Figure out how to actually interact
With the target side? Okay.
So it does look like they can manipulate exports from Ansible already. So that might actually be something to how to do that.
Okay, I'll look at that.
Because it might be a lot easier to write some Ansible script that we can run remotely as opposed to having to code the actual SSH commands.
Oh, this is the docs for the iSCSI gateway. Using Ansible. So Ansible is, you still need, you either need the SSH key for that remote box, or Yeah. Ceph Ansible.
Yeah, I mean, for Ansible, you still have to authenticate via SSH, but
Yeah.
at least there's a lot less room for us to not know how to handle all the different errors and stuff that could happen.
Yeah.
I mean, Cinder will have a requirement of Ansible being installed.
We.
Yeah.
And all of its dependencies.
It's all Python.
Yeah.
Can't you can install it in
I would assume so.
Ansible, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And hopefully the partner you to just run the script. I don't know anything about Ansible.
It's
How
finicky.
avoided that.
Awesome to do.
I think the problem would be parsing issues that come out of Ansible failures and stuff like that. There's a lot of text parsing.
Yeah.
You spend all your time writing that.
At least let Triple O do it.
All right, anyway.
Okay,
Do
so
we
we've,
want to put someone's name down to reach out to some folks and see about adding an API, or how do we want to follow through on this?
I'll do it.
Walt. That's the Russian version of Walt. All right. So we've got action items out of that. Keep it moving forward. Anything else there, or move on to the next subject? Take that as a move on.
Do we need some last people for the next stuff?
Were they going?
Room 101. So I just, okay, I never see what they're doing.
Okay. Do we want to take a
Or we could take a break.
5-minute break and go grab them, and we can get coffee and stuff, and then we'll hit those topics?
Sounds good.
All right. Cool. All right. I'll leave the Hangouts open, and we'll take a short break. And I'll probably stop the video recording here and start another one.